what do I think philosophy is? I take philosophy to be an enterprise, an activity of systematically trying to understand the nature of general aspects of reality, central questions about reality. Those include what exists, what the world is, and within it, what things are necessary, what things are possible, what things are contingent. Another central aspect of what philosophy studies is minds, the human mind, but also the possibility of other types of minds. For example, the divine mind, the minds of non-human animals, and now increasingly artificial minds. Then there is questions that are central to philosophy, such as the nature of knowledge and understanding, truth, logic, relatedly. And another great area of philosophy is the nature of good and evil, right and wrong, and how to live a good life, which is the domain of ethics, and also in a well-organized world, which is the domain of politics and law, I suppose. Now, of course, there are many other disciplines that study those areas, those questions, those problems, but philosophy, I think, is unique in studying all of them, trying to understand all of them without restriction, and even in trying to understand itself, which is what we are doing now. One thing that I think is distinctive, or perhaps if not distinctive, characteristic of philosophy is that ideas that at some point seem absolutely obsolete or debunked actually come back, and come back sometimes in a different guise, but sometimes in quite a close guise. And that's both perplexing and frustrating sometimes. But it's also, I think the reason why that happens is that the questions of philosophy are fundamental and never exhausted, never properly answered. I think in part because each person who does philosophy needs to answer the questions for themselves. So they need to do the philosophy. It's not something that you can merely learn. And that's a reason, again, I think, why studying the history of philosophy is central to philosophy, not out of a mere antiquarian interest of what our ancestors thought and how they differed in their ideas and their outlooks from us, that's important, but also because understanding their ideas is doing philosophy. It's actually, you could say, as people have said, that studying the history of philosophy is an exercise in philosophy. What about the value of philosophy? I think philosophy doesn't have a single value, but is valuable in many different ways and perhaps differently to different people. Philosophy is valuable, I think, centrally because doing philosophy, engaging in philosophical activity, is something that is valuable for the person who does it. It's an exercise that is intellectual in nature, but it enriches you because it provides insights into how things are and how things ought to be. And that in itself is often hugely inspiring and stimulating in a way that perhaps, contemplating beauty, the beauty of nature, or enjoying art and so on, are also inspiring and stimulating. But these are different ways of being inspired and stimulated, and philosophy has that intellectual dimension. Perhaps it's the contemplation of truth or the search for truth. Then again, philosophy is valuable because it has this instrumental aspect that it helps develop your skills, as skills that are tremendously transferable. So you develop analytic skills, the skill of conceptual clarity, understanding concepts clearly, how they relate to each other, critical analysis and constructive analysis, and that is partly a matter of logical argumentation, but also of imagination, of trying to come up with new solutions, new ideas, or new ways of finding a solution. And then, to finish, because I don't want to extend myself too long, I think philosophy is also valuable because it makes important contributions to our self-understanding as human beings, as individual human beings who engage in interpersonal, social and political relationships. And it gives us tools to think about how to construct good relationships at those three levels. It's not that, as it were, it makes us better people at doing those things, not at all. I mean, anybody who knows philosophers, both historically and contemporarily, will know that. But it helps you to think critically about what the goods are and how they relate to each other. So those are at least three ways in which I think philosophy is valuable.